The German Shepherd. German Shepherds are one of the most complete guard dogs ever developed, combining intelligence, athleticism, and a deep desire to work closely with humans. Bred originally to move and protect flocks, they quickly proved they could do far more than manage sheep. Today, they dominate police work, military roles, search and rescue, and high-level protection. Their greatest strength is their mind. They don't just react to noise, they build a mental map of your home, routine, and visitors, and they start noticing what doesn't fit. A well-bred German Shepherd assesses people calmly, rarely acting out of panic, and when trained correctly, responds to even subtle commands with precision. With family, they tend to be affectionate, gentle, and especially careful around children, often placing themselves between kids and whatever they consider the outside world. They do, however, need structure. Without daily mental and physical work, their intelligence and drive can turn into anxiety or destructive habits, which is less top guard dog and more home renovation specialist. In the right hands, though, they are steady, courageous guardians who can go from relaxed companion to serious protector in a heartbeat, and then back to pillow with ears just as fast. The Rottweiler. Rottweilers are powerful, confident, and surprisingly sensitive dogs that were originally used to drive cattle and guard money and goods for traveling merchants. That history created a dog that is naturally suspicious of strangers, yet deeply connected to its family, often forming an intense bond with one or two primary people. A well-raised Rottweiler doesn't bounce off the walls. It studies quietly, watching doors, windows, and newcomers with a calm intensity that doesn't need a lot of noise to be effective. When a Rottweiler decides someone is not welcome, its reaction is decisive. A deep, echoing bark, a solid stance, and the kind of eye contact that makes people remember urgent errands elsewhere. Despite their intimidating presence, many Rottweilers are gentle, goofy companions at home, often leaning their full weight on you as if they're trying to merge with your legs. Their protective instinct is not random. They typically won't react just because someone walks past the house, but if that person steps toward the gate, lingers too long, or moves in a way the dog doesn't like, the mood changes instantly. They need consistent training, early socialization, and clear rules to keep their natural confidence from turning into pushiness or overprotection. Treated like a serious working dog instead of a status symbol, the Rottweiler becomes an incredibly stable guardian who can relax with family and then stand like a wall when real danger appears. The Doberman Pinscher. Doberman Pinschers are purpose-built protection dogs, originally created by a tax collector who wanted a dog that would make people think twice about arguing with him. Sleek, fast, and incredibly responsive, the Doberman is often described as a Velcro dog because it prefers to stay physically close to its owner, monitoring every movement and sound. Their intelligence is sharp and quick. They read body language, tone of voice, and changes in the environment with alarming speed, which is excellent for security and slightly unnerving if you enjoy being mysterious. Properly trained, they excel at personal protection, patrolling, and advanced obedience, and they can transition from relaxed walking to explosive speed in a split second. At home, many Dobermans are affectionate and surprisingly sensitive, often seeking physical contact and reassurance from their favorite humans. They tend to form strong attachments and can become anxious or bored if left alone for long stretches, which is when that brilliant mind starts looking for projects. Because they're physically powerful and mentally fast, they're not ideal for owners who prefer a laid-back, low-engagement dog. In confident, experienced hands, a Doberman becomes a highly polished tool, focused, loyal, and always ready to step between you and a threat without waiting to be asked. The Bullmastiff. Bullmastiffs are large, imposing dogs bred specifically to stop intruders without necessarily injuring them, a sort of living security guard who specializes in "you're not going anywhere." Their size alone is often enough to deter most potential trouble. A stranger faced with a dog built like a compact tank usually rethinks their career in burglary. Unlike more hyperactive working breeds, the Bullmastiff tends to be calm, steady, and relatively low energy indoors, content to lie near the family and monitor everything from a comfortable spot. They don't usually bark without a reason, which makes every vocal warning they give meaningful rather than background noise. Historically, they used their strength to knock down or block trespassers and hold them until a handler arrived, and that instinct still exists. They react more with their body than with constant noise or frantic behavior. With their families, Bullmastiffs are often affectionate and gentle, even with children, though their sheer bulk means supervision is wise. Getting nudged by a dog this size can move small humans several feet. They do best with clear boundaries and early training, not because they're wild, but because you don't want 120 pounds making independent decisions in tight spaces. Treated with fairness and consistency, they offer a unique mix of quiet companionship and serious stopping power. The Boxer. Boxers are muscular, athletic, and expressive dogs that bring a mix of clownish energy and genuine protective instinct to the table. Originally used for hunting and guarding, the modern Boxer still shows flashes of that working heritage, especially when a stranger approaches the property or family members seem uncomfortable. They tend to bond closely with their people and often show a special patience and playfulness with children, though that playfulness comes with a lot of bouncing, wiggling, and "I'm definitely part of this conversation" energy. One of their trademarks is how physically expressive they are. They may use their front paws, tilt their heads, and cycle through a full range of facial expressions in seconds, making them look almost human in their reactions. Underneath that humor-friendly exterior, however, is a dog that becomes very serious when something feels wrong. Their bark is sharp, their bodies go from loose to coiled, and they will place themselves between their family and any perceived threat without much hesitation. They need regular exercise, mental stimulation, and consistent rules, or that energy will leak out in ways your furniture might not appreciate. In a home that can handle their enthusiasm, Boxers deliver both entertainment and genuine protective value in one very bouncy package. The Beauceron. Beaucerons are serious, highly capable working dogs from France, originally bred to herd and guard livestock across open land. They carry themselves with a quiet, almost military discipline. They watch, they think, and they prefer order over chaos. Many Beaucerons are reserved with strangers and intensely focused on their primary handler, checking in frequently and staying aware of where their person is in every situation. They're intelligent in a way that can be both impressive and demanding. They pick up training quickly but also notice inconsistency, and they don't respond well to sloppy leadership. Their guarding style is more about posture, movement, and presence than loud theatrics. They track people with their eyes and bodies and make it very clear when someone has crossed an invisible line. With their family, they are often deeply loyal, affectionate, and steady, not usually over-the-top clingy, but always nearby and ready to act. Because they were developed as true working dogs, they need real jobs, advanced training, sports, structured protection work, or serious obedience routines. Without that outlet, they can become frustrated or restless, which doesn't pair well with their strength and drive. For experienced owners, the Beauceron offers refined, controlled protection. Less show, more substance. The Tibetan Mastiff. Tibetan Mastiffs are ancient guardians from harsh mountain regions, bred to protect homes, monasteries, and flocks against predators and human intruders alike. They are large, heavily coated, and carry themselves with a sort of detached royalty, as if they're aware their ancestors once kept watch over entire valleys. During the day, they may appear indifferent, even lazy, often lying somewhere with a clear view of their territory while pretending not to care. In reality, they are cataloging sights, sounds, and scents so that at night, when their guarding instincts fully switch on, they know exactly what belongs and what doesn't. They are famously independent thinkers. They were bred to make decisions on their own, sometimes far from human supervision, which means they don't always respond like a typical "tell me what to do" obedience dog. That same independence makes them extremely reliable in guarding. They don't need someone to point out a suspicious presence. They'll notice it first. With family, they are typically loyal, often reserved, and very aware of emotional energy, though not usually openly clingy. They require firm but fair handling and early socialization to keep their massive potential in check. In the right environment, a secure property, confident owner, and clear boundaries, they act like ancient sentinels, watching quietly until there is a real reason not to. The Cane Corso. Cane Corsos are powerful Italian guardians whose design brief might as well have been calm strength with intelligence and presence. Descended from dogs used for both farm work and personal protection, they retain a natural sense of territory and a strong desire to stay close to their people. Their gaze is one of their most striking features. Direct, assessing, and surprisingly expressive, often making it very clear what they think of a situation or a visitor. A well-bred Corso doesn't rush into conflict. Instead, it stands its ground, watches, and warns before escalating. Their physical power is obvious, but what makes them particularly effective as guardians is their combination of courage and self-control. They are not typically nervous or easily spooked, which helps them avoid overreacting to small triggers like a dropped object or a car door closing down the street. With their family, they can be affectionate, even gentle, often following one main person from room to room. They need structured training, clear rules, and consistent handling. Without strong leadership, their natural confidence can cause problems. Managed properly, a Cane Corso becomes a composed, highly capable protector who rarely needs more than a step forward and a stare to send a very clear message. The Belgian Malinois. Belgian Malinois are high-octane working dogs that operate best in homes where calm day still includes training, exercise, and complex tasks. Known for their use in elite military and police units, they bring intense drive, high intelligence, and exceptional athleticism to everything they do. They are not casual pets. A Malinois without a job will simply create one, whether that's reorganizing your living room at top speed or inspecting your fence line every 5 minutes. Their minds thrive on challenge. They excel at advanced obedience, protection sports, detection work, and anything that demands precision and endurance. As guardians, they're extremely responsive and aware, often noticing details most people miss and reacting rapidly to perceived threats. Their bite, speed, and agility make them formidable in actual defensive situations, which is exactly why they require experienced handlers who understand how to channel that power. With family, they tend to bond intensely, sometimes fixating on one main person as their mission. Given the right structure and workload, a Malinois becomes a phenomenal guardian, a tireless professional who never really clocks out. These breeds represent some of the most capable canine guardians in the world, but they demand serious commitment, training, and responsible ownership to reach their full potential. If you found this breakdown helpful and want more deep dives into dogs and protection breeds, hit like, drop a comment with your favorite guardian, and make sure you subscribe for more.